what I teach in our food and sport model is called clear, congruent health science. And that's what I'm here to bring you today. Some clear, congruent health science. The problem with clear, congruent health science is that it makes you squirm in your seat. Invariably. It made me squirm in my seat. And when I had to start deciding if I wanted to be congruent between what I know and how I live. An issue. What I know and how I live. I'm walking on the streets of Manhattan a few years back. It was December, early December. There had been, in the rest of this beautiful area of the world, snow. In New York, some gray, wet, mushy stuff had fallen, and the streets were littered with slush, and the sidewalks were basically cleared. But when you stepped off the curb, you had to look where you were going because there was lots of slush, lots of puddles, and I got to an intersection at the same time as the lady in front of me got to an intersection, and she's wielding a stick. Right? She's got a white stick. She's as blind as a bat. And so I took her elbow and said, "Here, let me help you, because you're about to step like off Niagara Falls into the slush." And I helped her across 3 or 4 blocks. Finally, we had our conversation. "Where are you going?" She's going to the bank. I go, "You're going to the bank?" "Yeah, they have to cash a check for me." I go, "Okay, I've been around a little bit. I've been to England and Australia, and their currency is in different sizes. But our currency is all the same size. I'm just fascinated. How does this lady actually tell a 1 from a 5, from a 10, from a 20, from a 50, from a 100? You know how she tells? You know how blind people tell currency? No. They just believe whoever told them, whatever they get told. This is a 5, this is a 10. Here's my money, please take the correct change. Well, it's okay if you have that kind of blind faith, or do you just push the lady into the slush? You got to live incongruent with what you know and who you wish to become. I remember when I was 7 or 8 years old, I honestly don't remember which, but we went to Asbury Park. My sister and I went to Asbury Park. I'm sure my parents took us and dropped us off. Back in those days, you could do such a thing. And what we were doing is we were going to an ice skating rink. And there was a big enclosed ice skating rink, and we went to go ice skating. They're going to pick us up in a couple hours. And that was perfectly okay to do. We never would have thought any different. And I remember looking around. I could skate. I was happy to skate. Back then, my sister was my older sister. She now introduces me as her older brother. Funny how that works, but she went off to go do her thing, and which is basically scout guys. And I was just out skating, having fun, trying to see how fast I could go. But every once in a while, I'd look up at people. And I remember looking up at one guy in particular with broad shoulders and narrow waist and moved really in a coordinated fashion. And I go, I want to be like him when I grow up. I want to be like him. And we all have this in us. There's a child who wanted to be somebody when we grew up. And you still have that opportunity to become the person that you would have looked up to when you were a child. We're all developing. We're all being, as they say. And it's a treat to know that you can develop the personality, you can develop the physique, you can develop the people skills, you can develop the work ethic, you can develop the lifestyle habits of the person you wish to become a few years from now. Because I promise you, health never attacked anybody. Health is earned. Fitness never attacked anybody. There's nobody in the history of humanity who went to bed an unfit person and woke up the next morning fit. It doesn't happen that way. If you want to be fit 10 years from now or 20 years from now, you better start practicing now. I mean, like, maybe we should start practicing now. You know, I mean, it's like, I find it's one of the hardest things for me to do, to watch sports, because I want to go do sports. I don't want to watch. I want to participate. And it makes me realize while I'm sitting there watching, like, now. I need to be doing it now. I don't need to wait until after the game is over. I need to do it now. And we have the opportunity to become that person that we'd be proud of. But in order to do that, basically, we have to become congruent. My wife taught me an important concept some years back. She taught me that there's no good, no bad, no right, no wrong. This was challenging for me. I didn't see the world in quite this way. She said, essentially, the conversation went like this. She said, we were dating at this time, and she said, you know, I don't really mind if you date other women. I was non-committal in my response. She goes, you can go out with whoever you want. It's okay. She said, there's no right, no wrong, no good, no bad. I go, good, nice. I mean, what are you supposed to say? You know? I know I'm about to be hung up to be dried. I just don't know what's coming yet. She said, you can go out with anybody you want, but there will be consequences. At that point, I had to get committal. And so I said, what would the consequences be? And she said, well, you can go out with anybody you want. There's no right, no wrong, no good, no bad. You can go out with anybody. But you won't be going out with me anymore. Those are the consequences. She helped me bridge a gap in understanding that I am in a relationship with myself all the time. It's the one that I can't get free from. It's the age-old story of the man wearing the mask to work so that all of his coworkers see a man in a mask and they don't really see him. And when he leaves work, he takes the mask off because he doesn't need that mask anymore. And underneath it is a mask that he wears out on the street that the general population sees, which when he finally gets home, he can take off. And underneath it is the mask that he shows to his family and his friends. And not until he goes to bed does he take that mask off. And finally, in the mirror, does he see the mask that he shows himself. I wanted to get past that mask down to me. I wanted to start to be congruent with me, to be able to say that what I know and how I live are actually closely enough aligned. Not that I'm a perfect guy. I've had plenty of interactions that I'm not thrilled about or proud of, and I remember them, and my family remembers them. And some members of my family judge me on my past errors, and some support me for what I do, and you, I'm sure, all have family. Where we want to go is to a point where you can look your own self in the eye, say, yes, I did the best I could today. I'm going to do better tomorrow. I'm certainly going to give my every effort to do my better tomorrow, and be able to move forward from there. We want to be able to get to a point where you can go, I'm in a relationship with myself and I kind of like me. I can trust me.